Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So, I've never responded to Hasan or Hasan Piker, I'm not sure which name he goes by. I've been watching his content for a while. I like his takes on people that I've called out for years, just as he has, such as favorites of ours like Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk. So I often find myself agreeing with his analyses of his problems that he has with the misinformation and just complete nonsense from these people. However, I was watching an episode not that long ago where the discussion of veganism came up, and I was just kind of jaw-dropped about how his critical thinking skills just seem to fly out the window when it comes up to about the topic of not eating his precious meat anymore. But let's start off here. It starts off with the conversation that he was having about climate change, is it human cause or not? Anyway, let me show you how this all gets started.
So some of those impacts are actually worse than the models predicted.
The chatter keeps asking, Hasan, what do you think about like going vegan personally, reduce your emissions? I think you literally do not understand. It's no different than like, I don't know, reducing the amount of showers you take personally.
So a great question there from one of the people in his live chat. A lot to unpack there. First of all, I want to make it perfectly clear. You don't really go vegan to affect the environment or anything like that. Veganism is not an environmental movement. Let's look at the definition. It's a stand against animal cruelty and exploitation. Well, with that out of the way, however, it's an absolute true fact about reality that plant-based eating a vegan diet requires way less greenhouse gas emissions, way less environmental destruction than eating a non-vegan diet. And that's what I'm sure the spirit of the question that was asked to Hasan Abi. But he tries to brush it off by saying, oh, the environmental impact of going vegan is like the equivalent of just like taking a shorter shower or fewer showers. Like, really? Where's your data for that?
Okay. This needs to be done at a systemic level. I am perfectly in tune and on board with making limitations on our consumption choices as long as it's done at the level of government, okay?
I mean, this just sounds like a sad excuse as to why he'll never go vegan. I mean, are you hearing it the same way I am? Let me know down below if you think I'm totally misinterpreting him here, but it sounds like he's saying that the only way he would ever consider eating a vegan or plant-based diet is if the government required it by law, some kind of mandate that banned all meat and forced everyone to eat a vegan diet. Like, that's not going to happen, Hasan. I mean, you're just putting it down the road into the infinite future. You're just saying, oh, I'll go vegan when I'm forced to. And veganism is not something that is forced upon a population.
The notion of personal responsibility makes you feel good. Maybe you feel like you're contributing less to the ecological disasters that are coming our way.
And you can add to that you're actually against animal cruelty. Like, why, Hasan, do you require animals to be killed every day in order for you to live? I mean, why should animals need to be exploited their entire lives and face a gruesome slaughterhouse death? Why? Just, I don't understand. Why? What's the resistance to actually not harming animals, not being cruel to animals, and on top of that, consuming a diet that actually might help us, if enough of us do it, to help reduce the worst impacts of climate change? It's a win-win.
And that's fine and dandy, but if we're talking about genuine systemic solutions, it still has to be done at the government level.
Once again, you're just denying all personal responsibility, all ethical, moral considerations about animals, and saying you'll only eat a vegan diet if the government forced everyone to eat it. And like I said, we know that's not going to happen. So in essence, you're saying you will never go vegan or ever eat a vegan diet, regardless of the positive environmental impacts of a vegan diet.
What that means is straight up, I do believe this, if they legitimately were to get people on board, or even without getting people on board, maybe like reduce the amount of subsidies offered to like poultry to make it more difficult to produce, I would be on board with it.
Well, as a progressive, Hasan, I'm glad to hear you're on board with the government ending these just historically unfair subsidies that go to the meat and dairy industries to drive down the price of their products. But I never heard anything about you saying, well, if that were to happen, you would be on board so much as to not consume animal products. No, you just want people to pay more money. And unfortunately, yeah, it's very well known. You admit it. You're a very wealthy guy. You can afford to pay more for your meat and dairy. So that wouldn't do a damn thing for you, would it?
If millions went vegan, it would objectively help. Listen, vegans, I love you all, okay? Millions are not going vegan on their own.
Well, unfortunately, Hassan, you're falling into the dangerous territory of misinformation spreaders, like people that you and I both don't like that much, like Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson. Here it says, according to stats of 2023, there are approximately 88 million vegans in the world. Since there's over 8 billion people in the world, that's around 1.1% of the human population. So yes, there are millions of us going vegan, Hassan.
Okay, especially when our entire economy at the global level is still heavily reliant on oil and gas.
So what Hasan is doing here, I've seen many others on the left or progressives do the same thing. They just put it all on big oil. And they're totally right. There's they're fully to blame. Big oil is totally to blame. Yeah, we all know burning of fossil fuels causes greenhouse gas emissions, and big, powerful oil companies are trying to get away with it as much as possible. So we all agree that burning fossil fuels, greenhouse gas emissions, a bad thing. But you know what is even worse than that? You know what causes more greenhouse gas emissions than oil, which we all agree is evil? Animal agriculture, Hasan. More greenhouse gas emissions are caused via animal agriculture than via all of transportation combined. All the fossil fuel emissions from transportation combined are less than the fossil fuel emissions that are created in the products of the meat products you eat. And by the way, I'm not pulling the statistic out of my butt. I'm not making it up. This comes from the United Nations report, Livestock's Long Shadow.
But even if you want people to eat less meat, okay, which is an understandable desire, even if you want people to eat less meat, you cannot accomplish that through a personal pact that you have with a bunch of other people where you decide to not eat chicken and beef. You get it?
What's this personal pact thing you're talking about? I mean, I stopped eating meat because I understood very clearly that I didn't need to kill animals in order to live and get all my food, all my nutrition, all calories, everything I needed from eating just plants. And if that weren't so, I'd be dead by now. I've been vegan since 2010. I'm 56 years old. And don't take my anecdotal story, Hasan. Health organizations from around the world agree that a properly planned vegan diet is nutritionally adequate for all people. And not only does my way of eating help innocent animals, it also helps our planet, helps our environment. So what's the reason not to go vegan, Hasan? Are you pro animal cruelty? You don't want to do a damn thing about helping animals in their exploitation and slaughter? You know, 80 billion animals are slaughtered every year for you meat eaters. And you don't want to do any more about helping save our planet when it's so easy to just to stop eating meat? Yeah, just one person alone is not going to solve it. But, you know, if that's the way people thought, nothing would ever get done. It's just, oh, I'm not going to do something good because there's not enough other people doing good. That's some kind of logical fallacy, I think.
There are so many other sides of this story that still contribute. Like, there's a tremendous amount of food waste, for example.
Now you're just throwing excuses out, like people that come on my Friday live streams, like, oh, so you won't or can't go vegan because there's a tremendous amount of food waste? Like, how does that relate to anything?
And also, every dumbass that sends me like this, for the record.
Wow, Hasan. So a minute ago you're saying you love vegans, but now a vegan is a dumbass if he or she sends you an article that's based on a peer-reviewed study showing the way worse environmental impacts that your meat-eating diet has compared to a vegan diet. In fact, I pulled this article up and just take a quick look at it because it's just not some stupid opinion piece or something like that. So first of all, from the peer-reviewed study, it says that the relationship between environmental impact of animal-based food consumption is clear and should prompt the reduction of the latter, animal-based foods. And from this article that you think is dumbass or whatever, it says the research showed that vegan diets resulted in 75% less climate heating emissions, water pollution, and land use than diets in which more than 100 grams of meat was eaten a day. Vegan diets also cut the destruction of wildlife by 66% and water use by 54%. But no, yeah, we're dumbasses, right? So despite these great numbers, Hasan still refuses to go vegan for the planet or the animals because he needs his government to force it upon all of us. Is there a word for that? For people who refuse to do something right unless there's many others doing the same thing? Oh yeah, it's called a coward.
Every dumbass that sends me like this is the same kind of dumbass that probably reads articles about how you don't need to take a shower every day, as a matter of fact.
All right, Hasan, you're on a roll. Yet another logical fallacy. This one's called faulty comparison. Trying to compare the environmental impacts of, say, taking a shower with the number one known cause of greenhouse gas emissions, animal agriculture. So no, your example there, your comparison there doesn't hold up in any way, shape, or form.
Dude, why do I cover liberalism and personal responsibility politics and how it is a Exxon-created initiative to weaponize liberalism and radical individualism against genuine, adequate, and necessary initiatives that would actually hurt their bottom lines?
All right, so now he's almost bordering into some kind of conspiracy theory. Oh, it's because of Exxon, this report that came out how Exxon and other energy companies are actually promoting individual responsibility as far as, people making actions like such as eating a plant-based diet or using better light bulbs, more efficient light bulbs. It's some kind of conspiracy theory now that veganism is somehow part of this too. I mean, I pulled up the same article that Hasan is referring to, and indeed, the experts they talked to in this article talk about how Exxon Mobil downplays its role in extracting and burning fossil fuels that are filling our atmosphere with carbon dioxide, and it places both the blame and the responsibility for solving the problem onto individual people, as Hasan is saying. The quoted expert says, "I do think that the fossil fuel industry rhetoric is probably part of the reason why so many people think of climate change in personal and individualistic terms. This is what we've been reading and hearing for an awfully long time." But the very next paragraph says, this isn't to say, though, that individual people can't do anything. If a significant portion of the population powered their homes and cars with renewable energy from solar panels or wind turbines, that would reduce the amount of carbon added to the atmosphere each year. And this expert has solar panels on her own roof. So Hasan, blaming this Exxon Mobil theory as your justification why you can't do anything as an individual sucks, because the experts that they talk to in this article are actually doing things as well. So why not join the 88 odd million of us vegans and join us in helping to fight climate change and helping to not have animals be killed for you on a daily basis for your burgers? But no, Exxon Mobil though, that's a new one.
This was cooked up. Every single climate change initiative that goes back to the individual single-handedly saving the planet.
Hasan, now you're just completely just making stuff up. I mean, I have not heard of this climate change initiative that involves people eating vegan diets. I mean, please comment and link to it down below if I'm missing this one.
Which, surprisingly, maybe for some of you, are probably the only allowed initiatives that have happened. Like, sorry, you have to pay more for a plastic bag, or no more fucking plastic straws at your favorite eatery.
Okay, I've heard of those things. Like, yeah, bring your own bags to the store, which I've been doing since the 90s. Yeah, plastic straws, I don't use them anyway. But what do those things have to do as far as greenhouse gas emissions on the scale of animal agriculture?
Why does this not ring any alarm bells in your mind? Big Oil coined the carbon footprints to blame us for their greed. Keep them on the hook.
Yeah, big oil sucks, but you can still do things as an individual, especially things that are as ethical and moral as not harming, not exploiting, not killing innocent animals, and not harming the environment as much to boot.
Climate-conscious individual choices are good, but not nearly enough to save the planet. More than personal virtue, we need collective action.
Well, you're just downright preventing collective action by completely refusing to entertain any thought about eating a plant-based diet, not only for ethical reasons. I get you probably don't care about animal cruelty, but to help save the planet. Just think about this. If no one did anything ever, just sat around and say, we need our government, I mean, we'd be in a hell of a lot of trouble. And I just see this is a huge excuse and a wasted opportunity, Hasan. If you were to start eating a plant-based diet because you'd be doing it for the environment, well, that would have an enormous impact collectively. You have a following of millions and millions of viewers. So just if like 5% of your followers started eating a plant-based diet, that would have a huge impact, and they in turn would influence other people. We can work collectively to solve these problems, but to completely deny any personal responsibility because of big oil, though, and just to sit around and let the planet get destroyed as we patiently wait for our governments to step up and do something, which they may never do. So what do you want to do, Hasan? Be a part of the problem, keep contributing to the number one source of greenhouse gas emissions, or make a stand, say, hey, I'm going to be brave and act individually but collectively, because you're part of a greater 88 million of us vegans, and you can influence thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not millions of more. So yeah, but no, you won't go vegan. vegan because of all the reasons we talked about, but I hope you change your mind, Hasan, because I do enjoy your content. I respect your opinions 95% of the time, and I actually have learned a lot about how to run a live stream. I like a lot of things he does, how he interacts with his audience, how he goes through news stories, and or in our case, vegan related materials. But anyway, yeah, it's not a video made to trash Hasan or anything like that. It's to point out his lack of critical thinking, lack of being objective when it comes to a topic like veganism, when he uses those skills quite well in other areas, but he just shuts them all off here. Can't be objective because gotta eat that meat though, and it's really disappointing. So anyway, guys, leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know if you know about Hasan. And is it Hasan Piker or Abi? I always call him Abi, but it seems like Piker is the more commonly used one. Anyway, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of his excuses. ExxonMobil though, that's a new one. Let me know if you ever heard anyone say that one before. Subscribe, join, become a channel member, get some of our exclusive vlogs from Angie and channel member only live streams. And everyone, come to the Friday live stream, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about all things vegan. And if you really don't like what I'm saying here, you can try to debunk veganism as well. So until next time, remember guys, doesn't suck being vegan.